All right. Mathematical literacy, others call it mathematical lit or maths late. Anyway, yeah, we shall be working out of 150 marks. Everyone knows that 150 marks. Of these 150 marks, that they will be turned into 100%. For you, remember this 100% is the one that will determine your level, either level 7 or not. So from 150, we expect you to have 83 marks. The moment you have 83 marks, you have 55%. And this will come from measurements. Then 40%, this will come from maps and plans. 5% could probably it's the probability. 5% it will be the probability. Now, when you add these, you end up having 150. And when you add these percentages, you end up having 100. All right, let's see how it's split. Remember, the topics that we have in paper 2 are measurements, maps and plans. Maps and plans, don't forget maps and plans. We also include the scales and other representatives. Probability cuts through. This one is in both. It's in both. It's in both papers, paper 1 and paper 2. All right, let's go into that. Now, the structure of the question paper. When we look at question number 1, it will have 30 plus or minus 5 marks only. Taxonomy level 1. This simply means these are the simple questions. Please do not leave question 1 unanswered. Do not leave question 1 unanswered. It will have a mixture of maps and plans, and measurements. When you look at measurements, we shall be looking at the area part of it, the conversion, perimeter. We look at volume, you understand? Conversion, changing from meters to centimeters, kilometers to miles, all right? Those simple parts. Then we look at question number 2, which is based on maps and plans. Maps and plans. When we look at the plans, here we shall be looking at the floor plans. The floor plans. The structure plans, the layouts, like the shopping mall. All right. Probably we shall also look here. We expect to see something to do with the sitting plan. Sitting plan, we see it in examination rooms. We see it in a stadium. We can see it in a movie hall, cinema hall, planes or bus sitting plan, how people sit. All right. Measurements, again, this is question number 3. It will be looking at only measurements. Question number 4, it becomes integrated. Question number 5 becomes integrated. All right. When we look at this question, for example, this is an annexure for question number 4. This is a floor plan, and we expect this to be in question number 2. All right. If it first comes in question number 2, you have it in question number 4 or 5. Then when you look at measurements, we look at parts of, you should come knowing these formulas, because we expect them to be off head. These formulas are supposed to be off head. All right. Volume. Now this is for a rectangular prism. That's volume of a rectangular prism. When you look at this, side times side, this has to be cubic because all sides are equal. It's a cube. Then volume of a cylinder. Why am I saying a cylinder? Because I've seen radius. All right? Radius. So you should know these formulas here. All right, how to pick them. Then when this is question number 1, remember, question number 1 is also integrated. It looks at measurements and maps and plans. Look at this here. They're asking identify the 3-dimension, which is 3D shaped, that is indicated by A. When you look here, you see A. These were these seats. All right. The round seats, The diameter of a page is this much. Now, listen. You see, like these are simple. They want the diameter is in centimeters. Take note of that. They want the answer in meters, and they want the radius. For you, they have given you the this is this. What they want is this. Remember very well that radius will always equal to diameter divided by 2. So this has to be 400 divided by 2, 200 centimeters, of which we divide by 100, we get our 2 meters. You see, 2 marks got just like that. All right, so we expect you to know how. We expect you to know how to change these metric. You know, remember these are called metric units or metric system. All right, that's what we remember. We expect to see such questions. Yes, in the question 1, the type of map. Yes, this could come in. But then when you look at question number 1, it's so obvious that the answers are taken from the next year's given to you. All right, that's why you see in most cases there are 2 marks per question. All right, please don't hesitate. You show working where it's needed. All right, you see, it's rare to see. You see, there's a 3 mark here, a 3 mark question. This is it. So it means you need to do more work here, but it's not that much, you know. This is straightforward. From the next year, you give the answer. The dimensions, you know this. These are the measurements. For example, length. You can look at the breadth or height. Those are the measurements. So here they're saying write down the imperial measurements or imperial dimensions of the length of the small double bed in words. You know, so you give the answer in words. So, but these are the imperial ones, will be the ones on top. For example, look at this. This is imperial. These are feet. Together. Then down, this is what we call metric. Metric, the ones that we usually know. The centimeters, meters, kilometers, millimeters. Those are metric. But then when we look at feet, inches, that is, or those are in imperial. That's what they're trying to tell us. All right, now they're saying write down now. What are you writing down? The dimensions of the length of the small double. So the small double. So you're writing the length. The length is the longer side, which is this. So they want you to write it in words. So it's 6 feet and 3 inches. So you write it in words and you say 6 feet and 3 what? 3 inches. You know? All right, let's go to the second question. Let's try and see. Now, when we come back here, we look at question number 2, maps and plans. This would be probably question number, it will be maps and plans, the floor plans, you know. Let's check on our question number 2. You see, they send you to a next year. But this one, it was a district plan. A district map. All right, a district map. You see that? So maps and plans, you should know the types of maps that we have: the regional, the provincial. We have the ones for the street map, you know, showing the streets of the given town. We have what we call a strip map. As I showed you, this one here we call the strip map. It shows the straight route from one town to another with the numbers or distances allocated on the right and the left-hand side. This is a strip map or a strip chart, some people will call it, or you can call it a route map. You see, a route map. Then we come to, you know, question number, you see, a next year. So let's see a next year B, a next year B. No, this is a next year A. This the district central map. You see how it looks like. Now this suitable word, the suitable type of the title for this, it will be a street map, where it shows streets of a given town, which is a section in Cape Town. A section in Cape Town, I think it's called the Green Point. All right. Central Business District, which is called CBD. All right, that's what it stands for. Then the scale, what kind of scale are we looking at? This kind of scale, we call it a ratio scale. This is a ratio, a ratio, a ratio scale. Others call it a number scale, which is okay. You can also call it numeric scale, which is okay. All right. Then the other kind of scale is called a bar scale or a line scale. All right. Now we go to question number 3, measurements. Measurements, we go back now to our area, perimeter, measurements. So look at that. Calculate the perimeter. They want the perimeter, and you know very well that perimeter is the total distance around a given shape, but they want it in meters. Make sure your answer is in meters. If there are any measurements that are not in the same units, please you change them to look like the others, not to be the same with, to have the same units with the other measurements given to you. All right, there we go. Now look at these formulas here. This is for rectangle. This is for rectangle. And the one on top, this is for it's a circle. The moment you see radius, just know it's a circle. The moment you see length and breadth, you just know it's what? It's a rectangle, because a square, all sides are equal. So you will have sides. All right, there we go. You look at this. This is a mesh. So the moment you look at this, also is it will be determined by perimeter. Okay, you look even here outside perimeter. It's a perimeter. Then you look at that scale. You see, there we go. We look at volume measurements. We have volume. We have two things that we need to know: volume versus capacity. Yes, these two are the same. However, one is in real life, the other is in the calculation part of life. You understand? Volume, space occupied by a given, we say space taken up by a given object, whereas capacity, it's how much can an object contain. How much can an object contain? How much can it hold? Together, that's the capacity. Volume, how much space does it take? When I put it in a certain corner, how much space does it take? Both upwards and downwards. You understand? That is the volume. Okay. Now this throws back, takes us back to this is the BMI charts. You understand? And BMI stands for body mass index, used to tell the health status or weight status of a given person. You understand? Remember very well that BMI will always equal to your mass in in kilograms. Yes. And the height in meters. The height has also to be in meters, but you have to square. This is supposed to be squared. The height has to be in meters, but it's what? Squared. Another thing I would like students to learn, the same way you learned DSTV, I'm talking of this, DSTV, this triangle here, the one that we use for maps and distance. The same way you can also make sure that you remember BMI. So it will be that's how we shall get the formula. So if you need BMI, you take mass divided by height squared. When you're looking for height, it will be mass over, but then we'll need to look for the square root. Then if you're looking for when you're looking for mass, it will equal to BMI times what? H squared. All right, there we go now. This is what we're talking about. This is the formula for BMI. All right, answer accordingly. Okay, Mr. Johnson, the family trip we're getting from Golden Gate in Free State. The family arrives at Brandfish International Airport, Bloom. They hire a car and drive to, you know, this is a planning. This is a trip or maps. Remember to see the map, yeah, think of it also the scale. What's the use of a scale? It's to change the diagrammic dimensions to real life, or the real life dimensions to fit on Earth, or to fit in the real life. The real life dimensions to fit on paper. We need a scale. Okay, this kind of map is called the this is a timeline, eh? It's a timeline. Check this again. All right, we shall be looking at question number 4. Question number 4, Question number 4, they tell us, question 4, still expect to see maps and plans. Expect to see maps and plans and measurements integrated. Now, what we think of, what we know here now, for example, they might give you a floor plan. Now we need to know the area of a given what? Bedroom. On this floor plan. You see what I'm talking about? That will call in measurements. Please don't forget the units. Units are important in paper 2. Units are important. Why? We are dealing with measurements. We are dealing with measurements. You understand? Even when you convert, I have converted centimeters to meters. The answer has to be shown in units. The answer has to be shown in units. All right. Measurements, we need units. Please take note of that. Another thing, if the question is 8 marks, don't get scared because the question is 8 marks. All right? Don't get scared because the question is 8 marks. No, you will have to get some marks from there. You understand? We take examples of, for example, if they ask you for, how is it called? You remember we look at area to be painted, what? So if you get the area, you get a mark. If you add all the areas of the rooms, you get a mark. You understand? You give your answer with the units, you get a mark. You understand? That is it. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Give it your all and you'll see the results. All right. We're looking at question number 4. Now, another thing is that when we look at measurements, we shall be looking at conversions. Remember telling you about that? Conversions. Remember, we have 2 systems for conversions. We have the metric and the other one, it's what we call the imperial. I usually say metric, it's the new, whereas the old is imperial. New, but metric, you know it very well. Metric, we shall need to know our kilometer, meter, centimeter, millimeter. You understand? Yes, then we shall look at measurements. You measure the length. This will be in using instruments there as rulers. Remember, this one here, usually you apply it when you use the scales. You understand? From measurement on paper, then you want it to become measurement in real life. You remember that. So you definitely have to measure. Either if it's if you're using a bus scale, you measure the bus scale. You need to measure the distance between the two towns. If you have a scale that's a line scale, you use a line scale. Then we shall have weight. Weight, this is when we look at kilograms, grams, and milligrams. All right? Kilograms, grams, and milligrams. All right. What I want you to remember is that when it comes to measurements, you will have to remember, especially the metric. We shall have to remember the metric. We shall have to remember the metric method, whereby we do what? Look at that. We said metric, we have kilometers, followed by meters, centimeters, and millimeters. In between these, we have the first one, the largest is 1,000. It reduces by 1 0, it becomes 100. Then it reduces by 1 0, it becomes 10. We reduce. So in between kilometer and meter, we have 1,000. In between meter and centimeter, we have 100. Between centimeter and millimeter, we have 10. Another thing that you have to remember here, it's big to small, we shall need to multiply. Whereas small to big, we shall need to divide. You understand? So simply meaning if you're leaving kilometers to changing kilometers to meters, we need to multiply. Why? You're from a big unit to a smaller unit. Still, it goes on and on. Here also, you're going to multiply. Here, you are multiplying. But then this section here, you multiply by 10. This section here, you multiply by 100. This section here, you multiply by 1,000. So the other way around, small to big. That's it. Now we've been moving from left to right. Then if you're moving from right to left, this is when you need to divide. Left to right, you need to multiply. Right to left, you need to divide. Together. So this is left to right. And this is right to left. This has to be in your head. You have to know it off head. All right. Volume or capacity. These ones we shall see them. These are under still also measurements. These are measurements. And we said volume. This is mathematical. Volume. Then this is in real life. Liters, kiloliters. As temperature, we have two. Then perimeter, total distance. That's what you should know. So total distance around a given. Then area. Area is the surface. You can say surface enclosed in a perimeter. I don't know whether it makes sense. So we have such a shape. You see that? Then when A, B, C, and D, if I move from A to B, then I go to from B to C, I move from C to D, then I come back to the same point A, we're covering AD. I have covered a perimeter. But then if I play from inside, this inside here, if I come and I cover this white part inside the perimeter, I'm covering what we call the area. So area is inside, perimeter it's outside. Around is the perimeter. Inside is the area. Surface inside the. How much can I cover? How much can be painted? How much? You understand? Then volume, we said this is a space and an object occupies the space an object takes up. Then capacity, we said the amount that is carried. How much can this bottle carry? That amount, we call it the capacity. To which extent can this bottle carry? All right, then time, we shall see time. There are two things we need. We have the 24-hour system and we have the 12-hour system. Some people call this the digital format, and this one they call it the analog. You understand? Here we have the AM and the PM. Here we have nothing like that. All right? We have nothing like that. Keep in mind what we need. Now, maps, plans, and scales. What we expect to see in this format is sitting plan, a layout of a building, which is a floor plan, the layout of stores. Okay, yeah, this is also, it can be a floor plan, the layout of buildings, and sport field. Yeah, this is true also. A sitting plan in cinema. I talked about the stadiums, examinations. We can check on this and you see the sitting like this. This is a sitting plan, but this is for a stadium. How do people, which number is someone going to sit? Which place will the person be positioned? All right, that is it. Okay, then we look at the street maps. I showed you this already in the next chapter. This street map, why? It has streets. These are streets inside, you see? You look at that. Look at all these are all streets. So it becomes a street map. You see that? Then we come to the route map. The route map will be, you see, the route map, it can take over this place here. Or we have the street maps that's done, then without a grid reference. We have what we call the grid reference. Terms that you have to remember in measurements. We have grid reference, that's what you should not remember. Then grid reference, you should remember that. Then we have what we call the general direction. I'm talking of the map now. General direction, we need to know general direction. We need to know we need to use the what? The compass. General direction, we are looking for north, south, east, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. We are using. Then the grid reference is when we pick a box where a certain town is found. If this is 1, 2, 3, then we have A, B. You understand? And there is a town here. That's the grid. Then the grid reference will become 2B. Or you can write it as B2. You see that? Okay. The street chart I've just showed you in one of the questions here. It was question 1. That's how we know the street chart. This one here. This is what we call the street chart. Or you can call it a route map because it shows a route. Then we have showing this is another portion of a road. Okay, elevations are now okay. We have 2 elevations. We have the ones for the house whereby you show the wall of the house. It shows the windows, the wall. Now leave alone the plan which is already drawn down and someone does, leave alone that. What about the wall? The wall, it becomes elevation. This is the floor plan. Then this is what we call elevation maps. Elevation maps are the ones that show how people covered. This is comrade marathons. All right, comrade marathons. The maps like this one here, it's an elevation map. This is an elevation map. This is how an elevation map looks like. It's elevating. People are running. Someone goes up, and the elevation, because the distance also is what? Increasing afterwards. This shows that they're coming to an end. They have to to decrease to, it's called acceleration and deaccelerate. So they are deaccelerating when they are coming down. Accelerating, you are pushing forward. Okay, that is it. Then the residential house estate, that this might give you a map showing a lot of what houses. Then we have what we call models and packaging. This comes in question either 5 or 4, as we looked at, but mainly probably 5. This is question number 5. Here we shall look at packaging, assembly. All right. Packaging, we find out how many items fit on the long side, how many items fit on the short side. Then, for example, if here we have, we say we need 4 items, and on the short side we need 3. So the first layer, how many will they be? We shall say 3 times 4. So this layer will take 4 items. You see how we get those numbers there. All right. Assemble. To assemble, this is when we follow the plan. Assemble, this is when we follow the plan and we like this. This is assembly. You understand? This was they were assembling it's a bed. Step 9 of 10 of the assembly instructions for the King's Law train bank beds with a slide with a slide as shown below. You see that? This is but how do you assemble it? So that will become our question today. All right. Thank you very much. And this brings us to the end of our prediction. Wish you the best and keep in touch. Bye-bye.